I've got to move a couple of things because the camera on my phone works just a little differently. There we go. All right. So, good to see you guys. Doug Stack, nice to see you in here. I can't see the whole chat room like I normally do, but I can see some of you over there. Matt Finn, good to see you. Master Finn, glad you are here. Leslie Holker, glad you're here. Barbie D, good to see you too. If you can all see me and hear me well, just let me know so I know what I'm doing here and that I know it's working. We, as you know, have had some internet troubles over here, and so we have had to go a little more makeshift than the makeshiftiness of this show has been by going live via my phone. So I hear you, Scotty. Says Doug, can you see me? That's the big question. Is the video working? And so welcome to the show, folks. This is the Intrepid radio program, broadcasting to you live via YouTube stream from the makeshift studio, from my makeshift life, from everything that's kind of in limbo around me as we make things work. And so I'm glad you can hear me. I'm glad you can see me. That's good. There he is. Hey, Teresa. Good to see you. Hey, Field Guy. Good to see you, too. Matthew Sainsbury. Nice to see you. And, of course, as you all know, I'm down here in Louisiana. Have been here for about a little over 4 weeks. And we're still in the makeshift digs without... I just got an announcement that I'm live on YouTube right now. How about that? And so tonight... I am having to broadcast from my phone because our internet went down where I was in my friend Pete Pierre's camper. We brought a new trailer down, a new camper. That's what we're in now. And we're far enough away from his servers. He's got his own servers over there. He's an IT guy. He does IT work for one of the big banking chains remotely down here. And so he's got all his servers. He's high tech. But that doesn't reach as far as this camper. So I'm living in a camper while I'm doing work down here. And we got to freeze Scotty Roberts, says Matt Finn. There you go. Hopefully we'll be able to free ourselves in the next couple of months. And things will turn around and looks real clear. That's good to hear, Teresa. I'm glad. Thank you. And of course I have no microphones, no studio apparatus. I've just got my little studio light that I always used back home. And, I got the big one. I didn't hook up the big one tonight. That's this one. You know, that's the big one that usually sits on the other side of the camera. And so we didn't get that hooked up. So we're in the makeshift studios and the makeshift life, moving from one temporary digs now in the new temporary digs. So you'll have to... bear with me as we do this show. I don't really have a solid topic for tonight. You guys know me. I do these series, and I'm still in the middle of some things that I want to talk about. But at the same time, what I talk about many times is something that is off the top of my head. It's something that hits me that day. It's something that strikes me about something that I want to talk about. Right now, because I'm in the makeshift digs and I can't access the internet out here other than by my phone, I can't look up some of my things, some of my notes, some of my sites that I go to, some of my psychological junk, so I'm all pretty handicapped with topics. But I'm glad you're here anyway, that you chose to spend your time here with me tonight. My son Sam just went over into his room. We're in a nice big trailer here. I can maybe pick up the phone and show you things. It's just fun, a fun thing to talk about. But remember, this show, the Intrepid radio program, first we do broadcast on Odyssey Radio. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over and hear all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. And we have not broadcast there since I have been down here in this temporary situation. And I've explained all of that why. But Russ over there, the owner of the station, he's playing all my old archives over on Odyssey, and it airs several times a day, the shows that he puts up in my time slots. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but you go ahead and go over to Odyssey, you look at their schedule, and you can probably hear some of the things we were talking about a year ago on this show. I think it should be rather fun for you to go back over and tap into the archives that they play. Now that's just audio, so nobody gets to see the makeshift studio over there. At the same time, we are broadcasting live on YouTube. It's you could call this just a live stream right now. That's what we're doing. Let's see, what does Matt say? Yay, Cribs Captain Scotty style. There you go. Yeah, it's like, we're out to sea. We're out to sea, mateys, and, go to your quarters and swab the deck. And so this isn't the captain's quarters right here. This is the kitchen. You can see I even have a makeshift temporary cardboard window covering that Sam cut for me to the shape of the window, because that is west behind me. And when I set everything up, the sun, as it went down, came scorching in this window and blotted everything. And I could have turned my back on it. I could have moved to the other side of this table, but I didn't. So Sam cut that cardboard, because there's curtains on everything else, blinds and curtains, and it's gorgeous, but at the same time, they were missing on this window. So that's why you see that beautiful beige color, tan beige color behind my head. And I'll take you on a little tour here tonight, if you don't mind, and to show you what the digs are here. And it gives you an idea of the lifestyle I'm living at the moment. And so I would ask you all, this is a serious note, that while I am here doing this show temporarily from here, trying to hit every night, we couldn't make it last night because we couldn't figure out what we could do other than going on the phone today. I would ask you very seriously to put out some good energy for my wife, Rainey, who you all know so well. Back home, it's stressful for her. I'm gone. This was really something she really pushed and encouraged me to do. When Pete offered this, she said, go take it. This could be a really big shot in the arm to, as many of you know, to build our new house. This shipping container home or a steel home, some of the things that we've been looking at and designing. And so put out some energy for Rainey, in that she is now like a single mom. Even though they can talk to dad every day, living the life is a single mom life. And, I find it strange that there are people who would prefer living a single life with kids than trying to work out their issues with their spouse or their partners. Now, I understand, and we all know this, some things are irreconcilable, or as they started saying in the 60s and the 70s, irreconcilable differences. I get that. And there are some people who absolutely need to separate. But with Rainey and I, we're not in that situation, but we're in a tacitly similar, in the sense that Rainey's a stay-at-home mom. She does work her massage, which isn't every day. It's not a full-time job for her, a full-time gig. She gets sometimes 3 to 5 massages a week, and that's pretty good. And that's good for her. She'd do more if she could. But she's also mom who makes all the meals, who does all the laundry, who's trying to teach those kids to do more and more to help her out. She is the mom who cooks meals. Do you know somebody like this? They're stay-at-home. Are you one of them? Are you a stay-at-home parent? This is what Rainey is experiencing right now. When I say put out some energy for Rainey, that is, Rainey is anxious. She's anxious about where we're going. The townhomes we live in right now, we were planning to move out when our lease was up, hopefully at the end of August, beginning of September, because we're hoping that this is going to help us get into putting together the home we want to live in. But the situation now, we find out the management company there has sold off. They're selling off all their properties. And so they sent out a form letter to everybody, us included, that all those townhomes are going up for sale and that nobody's lease will be renewed. And so ours is up at the end of August. And we have the opportunity to buy those townhomes. If you want to buy them, let us know. This shows you how organized they are with it. They're having financial problems. And so they put our townhome, which is a side-by-side home, they put that up for sale. They said, you can buy that for $230,000. I'm like, what? I'm not going to spend $230,000 on a side-by-side, what would in essence then be like a condominium home that has 3 bedrooms and 1 big main room and a kitchen and 2 baths. We've got a big enough yard, but because we're on a corner. I said if it was $230 for the whole thing, the 2 units, I could see that. We could buy those 2 units and knock out some walls in between, and we'd have a nice sized house for the whole family and for everything that we do, our studio work and all of that, and the radio and all of that. So all of that to say, hey, Steve, and thank you very much. Let me say this. The reason I'm asking this is that Rainey is already, the stress of knowing we're going to have to move, maybe have to move, rather than just by volition and choice say, hey, we're not going to renew our lease. When somebody comes out and says, hey, 5 months from now, almost 6 months from now, we're going to end your lease because we're selling the place. And then now the pressure is on to say, okay, now we got to do this. I don't want to move everything out. Neither does she. Back into storerooms and get a temporary dig somewhere while we build a house. We are hoping that this little sojourn down here puts us in a good position to do something better for our family. And as I've said, I hate being away, but that's why I'm here. And now she is the stay-at-home mom at home with the 3 kids. She has to get up in the morning, drive them to school, make sure they're fed, dressed, clothed, and clean clothes. She then has a few hours a day where she can do stuff. She can work on her book project. She can do massages. And so she tries to schedule all her massage work during those hours that kids are at school. And she only gets about 5, maybe 6 at the most during the week. And she can do pretty well off of those. But she needs my income. My income has been almost zero in the last month because I've been putting all my energy and effort into making this work. Month 2 down here now should hopefully start showing the fruits of those labors. And so we're, all I ask for Rainey, she's stressed because she's doing everything. She's doing all the running of the kids. I used to run them in the morning. She'd pick them up in the afternoon. Now she's doing both. She runs them to all their activities, the scouting stuff, the school stuff. She works in between when she can. She has to deal with the kids, just on a daily basis, what moms and dads do to deal with their kids. And she's got all the other stuff. Remember when she had the 2 cars break down at one time last month because of the weather? And what did she do? She got on YouTube and she figured out how to fix them both herself. So now, let me say this lest anybody out there is listening, because I got some criticism about this from somebody who used to frequent this show a few months ago. Nobody wants to hear about your family. Nobody wants to hear about your personal life, and so on and so forth. And they all want to hear more esoteric stuff. And you know what? We do that. But sometimes I like to share with you all what's going on. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I bring to the table. And it's these types of life situations, these qualities of life that really spearhead the things I like to talk about on the show. So I share this information with you. And when you, as also a spiritual family, here. When I ask you, think of my wife, put out some energy for my wife, put out some good intent for my wife, and think of her. When you think of her, if you say a prayer for her. Help her, not that she's not capable, fully capable, but sometimes the stress of it can wear on her. And then it wears on me, who is not an overtly stressful, anxious person. It wears on me when I'm not there. And many times there's nothing I could do any different by being there. But sometimes being there and suddenly not being there, the absence, is what causes my head to go to weird places, bad places, stressful, anxious, worried for my wife that she's doing okay, worried about money, worried about all that, all the things that go into that. So if you would, keep Rainey in your minds. And those of you who who regularly put out the energy like that, I help her out by putting out some energy for her. That would be most appreciated. There. Now, I've spent a lengthy amount of time talking about my family. And that's because that's all I think about down here. That doesn't mean I don't think about good programs for the show and so on. Last week we were talking about consciousness, and I never really finished that. Sunday, ad hoc, we kind of talked about souls, the souls of animals, the souls of people, spirits, and things like that. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. Doug, I can give you her number. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. And it's very similar to mine. I'll tell you what it is. Not on the air, though. My phone number, I give out because I don't care. Anybody can call me if they want, and if they abuse my number, you know what? I hang up on them. And there are dumb people out there that do dumb things like that. My number, it's on my website, scottallenroberts.com. You can go over and you can pick up 651-468-8115. I will generally always pick up my phone. Now, of course, in this day and age over the last few years, where advertising companies and scam artists and everybody can buy lists and they route all their calls through private numbers, sometimes I see numbers coming from my own area in Wisconsin. So I'll pick them up, and it's somebody trying to tell me that, the Social Security police are coming out to arrest me. And all I need to do is make a payment over the phone. And, the bullshit. I've talked about that before. And so, there's my Etsy page. Thank you, Master Finn. I appreciate you for putting that up. You can send pizzas to my phone number. So, all of that to say is that this is the personal life. This is where I am. This is why my show is not the quality that it normally is. I'm a stickler for quality. I'm a designer. I'm an illustrator. I'm a writer. There are things that I like to do, and I like to make sure they're done a certain way. And when I can't do that, it grates against me. Hey, Susie Q. Good to see you. And so I'm the same with the show. I'm in a makeshift situation. And so, because it's sitting right here, I got to show you. Because I'm talking about artwork. This is the cup that my kids made for me. My coffee mug before I left home to come down here. And it's interesting. It's all spelled, it's not backwards. It's backwards. They wrote it that way on purpose. All the letters are backwards. I love you, Dad. It says B-A. I think that was the beginning of a backwards D from the little kid. And then look at this. E. Where is it? E-L-E-L-L-E-R-Y. Ellery. And then Flynn drew a robot on there, I believe. And somebody added the ice cream cone and the stars. And then there's a message here that faded. Rainey took it and she sprayed it with some sealer, art sealer, and it made the art smear. She was devastated that happened, and it faded this message. This says, "I love you, Bring back lots of money. Love, Rowan. So there you go. That's her message to me right there on the side of the mug. But this is my coffee mug. So there you go. Whoops. Look at that. There was even coffee left in it. I thought it was totally empty and clean. So, and that makes you miss your family even more. So I'm here away from my family. Have you ever had times where you've been away from family? How do you cope with that? Have you been on the other end of that, where you're the one left back home to run the business, run the family business, the business of familying, if you will? How do you cope with those things? Have you ever felt like my wife feels? Have you ever felt like the single parent? Maybe some of you are single parents. How do you cope and struggle and work through all of those? Hey, Brianna, nice to have you here. How do you work through all of those things? I gotta take out my glasses. How do you work through all of those things? How do you make life work when either the ends don't meet, or the expectations aren't met, or the things that should be the normal things of life start to be the things that don't work so well for you? Not because anything bad is happening to you, but because you're working towards getting something to work better. I know that, hey again, Brianna, I just saw your message. There's a delay here in the broadcast, so don't worry about it if I seem to be answering slowly or getting your messages on there slowly. So I bring that up because have you ever been in a situation, men or women, where you have had to travel away from home? I'm not talking about a day or two, but where maybe extended periods of time. Did your dads ever have to do that? And I say dads specifically because in older generations or generation back, it was more men that was doing that kind of thing. And of course, with the National Day of Women, we've all recognized that it isn't just men anymore. Hey, Elderberry. I raised my youngest boy in a wheelchair with the help of a Labrador Retriever, said Elderberry. That's great. That's a lot of work. And sometimes I go outside and scream out loud, says Steve. Man, I hear that. I get that. So what do you do when you're alone and you're raising the family or you're working your life alone? You know, and I'm not trying to point it out, Steve, but since you just commented, sometimes some of us are alone. We've lost that person. And you're all by yourself. How do you cope? How do you deal with those things? I know when I was a kid, now this is a very different facet of that kind of thing. How do you cope with things? I was talking to my son the other day, and I said, I don't think I ever told you about this. And if you all on the show here remember when I read to you an article I had written a long time ago revolving around Captain Kirk, and that Captain Kirk was the hero that I grew up with. And he, in a sense, because there wasn't a dad around, he became the coping mechanism, if you will, which I didn't know until I was well into my 30s. That was the character because I idolized him, and I sank all my energy, my creative energy, into Star Trek and Captain Kirk and all those. He was my personal hero. And so when I did that, I effectively buried the pains I had to deal with in that imaginary or fictional character as a surrogate mental father, a psychological father. And if you want to read that, it's over on my academia site. It's called Captain My Captain. And you can find that, by the way, if you go to my website, scottallenroberts.com, click on, I think the link says articles in the top bar at the very top of the page. Click on articles and there's links to all those articles. And by the way, thank you, Leslie. That $10 snapped up there. Thank you for that. That helps the cause. It always helps the cause. Those, by the way, any payments that come into this show through donations you make, those all go, I've got those all set up. They go into Rainy's account back home. So anything that comes in here goes to her and the kids. So just so you know where it's going when it comes in. It's not going into my drug habit or hookers and blow. It's going back home. So,
You say hookers and blow?
I did. Sam heard that. He heard hookers and blow. Do you have a shirt on?
Oh, yeah.
Come here and say hello to everybody. I'm gonna make some room for Sam.
Ow.
So,
How
there's
goes?
Sam. How's everybody? There's my eldest son, Sam. My firstborn, the heir to my throne. So, he was just asking me today. We were talking. And he says, I brought something up. He says, when you die, there's a couple of your things I'd like to have. And then he was like, I'm sorry I'm even talking about it because he says, I get emotional just talking about that. He said, I don't want you to die. I said, but we all know I'm gonna. So he wants some of my swords. I said, look, I want you to have my swords. I said, Flynn probably wants a sword. I said, I want you to have some of my hats. This is the big thing that he wants, though. He said, if nothing else, it's that ring. And that's the ring, I'll show you, that I wear. That's the ring that, let's see if we can keep it in focus here, huh? That's the ring Reuben Fasthorse gave me back in 2003. It was actually Reuben and his now former wife, Ash. I did some work for them, cover designs for an album they were doing, and they gave me that ring. And that's been on my finger ever since. On this ring, it's hardly ever left this hand, except once I had to have the stone replaced. And that, so I've had this ring for what, 18 years, 17, 18 years now. And so Sam gets this ring when I die. And I told him, it's going to be 40 years before you get it. So, it's okay. It's okay to ask. So I call my eldest son Bubblehead, says Elder Barry. Is that an appropriate name for you?
Bubblehead.
Hey, Johan, good to see you here. And so, it makes me start thinking about that. Mortality. I've been a little slow out here because I've had a couple of pratfalls out here, and I messed up my back and I messed up my ribs, and which are not healing very fast. And so, I tried my first CBD cigarette today, and to see if it would, kind of loosen up things. And maybe somebody said, well, it doesn't really take away the pain, it just lessens your stress and your tension. I go, I'm not a real stressful person. But the stress that, Sam, you have us all as witnesses that when my time comes,
when the time comes.
There it is. Hopefully he will be an old man by then. I was, how old was I when you were born? You were born in 2001, January. So I was 40 when Sam was born. And I used to call him back then the son of my old age. But then, of course, that was back in 2000. That was during the divorce. You've all heard that sordid tale. And from his mom. And then in 2004 to 5, I met Rainey. And when I said Sam was the son of my old age, then along came 3 others. So it does happen, folks. And I would ask jokingly, I'd be like, how'd that happen? And somebody said to me, if you haven't figured that out yet, we'll get you a book and send it to you.
How babies are made.
How babies are made. Did I jinx myself, are you saying, Matt? So CBD cream might be the best way to go. Yeah, you might be right, field guy. The CBD cigarette was it half of $5 or half of 10?
It was like, it cost, with tax,
I paid
like
$5.
Yeah, it was like,
and $5 for one cigarette? Well, it's apparently not supposed to feed a habit. That would be a very expensive. That'd be $100 pack of cigarettes if you added them up like a pack. $100. I don't have time for that. Hey, Jojo. Good to see you. I don't know who they're talking to. Anytime, Jojo. So, which Jojo that is, but welcome. And CBD cigarettes are good. I tried it, and it was fine. It burned my throat a little bit more, and I wasn't really hip on that. So it was harsher on the back of my throat. And so I probably won't buy them anymore.
I was telling Dad that if it's that harsh for him to smoke, it would probably be better if he got like, because I know he likes his tea and he can mix it with like an Earl
There you
Grey
go.
tea, something CBD tea.
I like my coffee.
Could probably get
So,
CBD coffee too.
I missed something somebody said to me. I can't respond quite as well to the chat room tonight, only because the format of it. I'm on my phone, and the chat room scrolls up here. Only 4 chats at a time does it show me. 4 posts at a time, and then it goes away. Now I could go up here and probably mess with. Yeah, see, I can scroll back a little bit. Excuse me. Scotty, you poked in fun and she took it seriously. I'm not sure what you're talking about there exactly, Steve. Pardon my fingers there. No worries, Scotty, says Johan. Hey, Delaney, if I didn't say hi to you. They have CBD coffee. That's interesting. I like my my Black Skull coffee, whatever it is, rather. Death Wish coffee, arr. Hi, we're gonna pour us some Black Death Watch coffee and drink in the skulls of our enemies. Yeah, don't pull my finger.
Yeah, don't. He's had some rancid ones lately.
It was an interesting evening. Let's put it that way. And so, I forget my train of thought because I didn't really have a great train of thought. Oh, I did want to say this. Speaking of pulling fingers and so on, I left this on the table because I was going to say, don't you love marketing? I do. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I create logos. I market things. That's been most of my thing. But I saw these in the store, and I picked them up. Only because, oh, this sounds so delicate, and some people are going to go, oh, that's just TMI. I don't want to hear all that information. But you know what? When I poop, I like to be clean. I like cleanliness. I don't like... I saw a bidet ad once, and it said... it showed somebody like with grease all over their hand and trying to wipe it off with toilet paper that was shredding. And they were like, would you try to wash your hands without water? You know, and then they were showing that you could get a bidet and you step in the little pump. You want to try the gummies, Johan? Yeah, Rainey got me some of those, and I left them back home. Yeah, Brianna. Look. Ta-da! Dude wipes. I love marketing. And you know what? These wipes, they're no different than diaper wipes. But it doesn't say diaper wipes. And it doesn't have little cute teddy bears all over it and flowers and things like that. Bidets are great. Yeah, Doug. So, yeehaw! Dude wipes. You knew right where my head was going, Brianna. So, marketing is a great thing. You know why? Somebody made this up and they go, you know what we need to do? You know what we need to do to sell more wipes? We need to market them to guys. What would make a guy? And guys are like, I don't need wipes. You know, I can use toilet paper. I use my hand. You know? Hey, give me a nice piece of sandpaper. I'll use sandpaper to wipe my ass. Yeah. While I bite the hair off of my arms. You know, and that's what guys are like. So what's nice about this, I always use wipes because I like them. If in lieu of a bidet, I'll use wipes any day. You know why? You never know when you're going to get caught with your pants down and you want your ass to be clean. It's that simple. You know, like me, look at the times I've gone to the hospital in the last 5 years. It's like, usually, it's not like, oh, wait, let me take a shower while I'm having a heart attack so I can make sure my ass is clean. No, I buy wipes. I like to be clean. I like to smell clean. I like to stink purty. So when you see that, I didn't buy these because I'm like a sucker for marketing. I bought these because I went, dude wipes. I'm going to get some dude wipes so I can talk about it on the radio. So I now have a pack of dude wipes. And they smell just as good as diaper wipes. Dude Wipes is a company that got investments in Shark Tank. I didn't know that, Brianna. Maybe that's why you knew about it. That's fantastic. So, Dude Wipes, is this window open? Yes, it is. Here, you know what I'm going to do? Because I'm broadcasting my voice, not just the show, but I'm broadcasting my voice. Am I opening that or closing it? Hang on. Sam, entertain them for a second. You can't reach this. I can't.
Cheers.
Oh, it was closed. Maybe. See, I'm sitting here talking in my radio voice. It's loud, boisterous. And I don't realize I got a camper right next door. And my window's open. So, a client of yours had them in the bathroom, says Brianna. Yeah, these are great stuff. So, you know what? I would love to get Dude Wipes as a sponsor of this show. So we can go, I use them. You should use them too.
That's what I'm sipping.
Oh, there you go. Now we've got some Stella
Somebody,
here.
Delana Pearl Jones?
Yes, Delaney.
What were you?
Sam, what you sipping? There it is. It's
Stella.
Stella Solstice Lager.
Oh, yeah.
It's a summer limited thing. And, you know, I was telling one of the Mexican guys came over tonight. And he brought us dinner. That was very cool. It's not that we can't cook and we're starving or anything. But he brought over 2 plates of dinner, some spaghetti and mashed potatoes. I said, wow, thank you. And because he had sat over here a little earlier, we were talking about Egypt. He was talking about his dad does paleontology, stuff like that. We were just comparing notes, showing pictures and stuff. And so he came over and delivered, and we gave him a Stella. And he said, I've never had one of those. What'd I miss? So
This last one.
he's sipping Stella while stealing your lucky charms, Delaney. There it is. So, hold on. Ow, son of a... Oh! Sneezes are okay. I'm hating them these days because of my ribs. As you all know, I cracked 1 or 2 ribs a couple of weeks ago now. I don't know when it was. I know it's last week.
Damn that dog.
Oh, my God.
Damn that dog.
If I sneeze or I cough or I laugh too loud, it was when I was breathing, I get like a sharp stab in my rib cage over here. It's not my heart. Heart's doing good. It's the rib cage. Oh my goodness. So, you know, the first week I was here, I fell off the stupid bunk bed trying to reach for the ladder at 3 in the morning and landed on my ass, exacerbating an old Marine Corps injury, which was a little broken, easy to stay. It's a spondylolisthesis, if you know what that is. And I busted a little thing in one of the spurs on my vertebra. And then it hasn't given me much problem, but I landed on my ass like 3 weeks ago now and put it out of place. And so it basically brought on a sciatica. Severe. So bad I couldn't stand up straight. And he had to take me to the chiropractor. We chose the chiropractor because all the doctors don't believe in chiropractors. And so they'll like, oh, why don't you put a little ice and heat on that and we'll give you something for the pain. It's like, why don't you just try to pop it back into place? So, yes, that's what I do, Johan. I actually, if I know I'm going to cough or I know I'm going to, when Sam's driving and he's going to hit a bump, I go, God. I said, would you warn me? Oh, sorry, Dad. I hear that 10 times a day. And, but yeah, if I have to cough or sneeze,
it's not my fault.
I do like, I take my hand and I put compression on my rib cage.
It's not my fault that the roads out here were built like by a drunken Irishman.
There you go. Yeah.
Hence me.
Yeah, it looks like the drunken Irishman built the roads out here. That was the thing in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's where that came from. It was Governor Jesse Ventura. Remember him? He was the governor of Minnesota back almost 20 years ago now. But he said, yeah, it looks like the roads in St. Paul, Minnesota were laid out by drunken Irishmen. And he got a lot of heat for saying that. And he says, I don't care if you give me heat for that. You know, F off was basically his edit. I don't care. You know, now he'd probably have to resign. But the Irish don't care. They're like, what did you call us? We laid out what? What's the slam there? Hey, come on, have a little whiskey. All right, we're good then. Kiss me, I'm Irish. But down here, I am the wild rover. My eyes are still shining.
Ain't that the truth?
And I'm seldom sober. I love my whiskey, and I love to dance. So if you're feeling as lucky as me, take a chance and kiss me, I'm Irish. That's Gaelic Storm. Sings that song. Great band. And so I was telling Sam, in my Irish accent, I said, we're so fucking straight. We're so fucking tired of straight roads. We're gonna just lay it out all fucked up like. And so we're gonna turn left. There's gonna be like a big fucking Celtic knot. And so I had him laughing while we were out driving anyway.
Oh, that's great.
Your massage girl fixed your sciatica on one visit because extra time. My friend spent $1,700 on a chiropractor. Holy crap!
Jesus.
Yeah, I got a chiropractor back home, and it's not expensive at all. Down here, I was spending $75 a shot going in, and I was like, dudes, I'm just not. So your Irish blood tingles with every Irish jig I hear.
Same, Delaney. He's only had one beer. I don't know why he's as...
Molly Malone. Oh, I sing that to the kids. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, there's none could compare with sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow down streets long and narrow, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Well, she was a fishmonger, and sure it's no wonder, for sure, so were her father and mother before. They wheeled their wheelbarrows down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Now she died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Though I sing that to the kids, I play it on the guitar, and I always throw a little Irish lilt in it in the accent. And I don't know if they notice it. They don't say anything about it, but they like it. So, Johan, thank you. And you're welcome, Leslie. And so I saw some other songs of people like, thank you, Matt Finn. I'm singing along with you. That's cool. Cockles, says Scott Allen. How you doing, Scott Allen? Good to see you. And so I don't know where I was, but just by talking about Irish songs, you could get me going all night. All fucking night. I've told you my only one and famous Irish joke, haven't you, about the Irish leprechauns coming up to the nunnery? Have you ever heard that one? I know some of them have.
I think so.
Thanks, I'll tell it again.
Good. Good. Let's hear it.
So we're in Ireland now, and there are these two leprechauns. And they're walking up to the convent door. And the one says to the other, now you shut up and don't say a word. He says, you let me do all the talking. And so they knock on the door. And a nun comes to the door and she says, may I help you? And he says, yes, sister. Let's ask you a question. Do you think you'd be having any wee leprechaun nuns in your convent? And she says, why, no. There are no wee little leprechaun nuns in our convent. The leprechaun says, all right, very good, thank you. Thank you. May I ask you another question? She says, do you think there might be any wee little leprechauns in all the world over?
I got in trouble for telling this joke at school.
Did you?
Yes.
Sorry, he says, do you think there might be any wee little leprechaun nuns in all of Ireland? And she says, no. Slightly perturbed. She's a nun. No, there are no wee little leprechaun nuns in all of Ireland. And the leprechaun says, peradventure, sister, I try your patience and ask you just one more question. Do you think there are any wee little leprechaun nuns in all the world over? And she says, very perturbed now, no, there are no wee little leprechaun nuns in all the world over. The leprechaun looks at his buddy and smacks him and he says, see, I told you were fucking a penguin. Boom! Badum bing!
Yeah, I was in like...
Kiss me, I'm Irish.
I was in like 7th grade.
I am the wild rover. You told it at school, huh?
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that? Where'd you learn that joke?
Oh, I don't know. From this whole weird Irish dude.
Anyway, there you go, Johan. Boom, says Teresa D'Antone. See, when you speak with an Irish accent, that's how you can say the word fucking without getting in trouble with it. You know, there was a point back in 2000. I was working with a buddy and two buddies of mine and I. We had a little company, and I may have mentioned this before. We had a little company called Three Celts and Company. It was the two of them and me, and we're all Celtic. I'm Scottish. I'm more Welsh than Scottish. I'm Welsh. I'm Scottish. Back then, I didn't know I had the Scandinavian blood I had in it, tainting it. But the way I see it is the Scandinavian blood came in from the Viking raiders, raping and pillaging all of our Celtic ancestors. So I'm primarily a Celtic mutt. And so we had our little company, Three Celts and Company. And we sold T-shirts. I do a lot of T-shirt designs like I do now on my Etsy page. We'd sell T-shirt designs that were all Celtic in orientation. We sold kilts. We sold swords and dirks and daggers and all that stuff and jewelry. We'd sell Irish books and art and CDs and things like that. And we'd set up a huge tent. It's if you're familiar with this term, it's a George Washington tent. It's like in the 1700s they had the big round oval tents. They were like 20 feet long, and with the big roofs on them, like almost like big tops, but they were canvas tents. We'd set up a big one of those and set up tables, and we'd do our shop. And we did all the heritage shows, Scottish games and Irish fairs and all of that stuff. And where was I going with that? Three Celts and Company. Oh, that's where we first came up with maybe it's what I was talking about when you say fuck. Oh, one of my partners in that and I, we wanted to try to open up an Irish pub, but not an alcohol pub. It was going to be we were going to call it an Irish coffee pub. And it was just the two of us in on it, and we were going to call it Two Celts and Coffee. And we were going to set it up just like an Irish pub, with the woodwork, the black leather, the fireplace, the brass, all of that great stuff that you'd find in an Irish pub. Only it would be a coffee shop. This is back in 2000. This is 21 years ago. We were looking into this. And there was a guy in Minneapolis and St. Paul, an Irishman by the name of Kieran Folliard. And he's still around. I shouldn't speak him in the past tense. And Kieran owned Kieran's Irish Pub, which is a big place. From a lot of us from the festival used to go there. We would go to his other restaurant and bar, the Liffey, which was over in St. Paul. And then we would he was just opening a new one. This is where I went to meet with him about our coffee shop, sitting in the local. It was down those of you who know Minneapolis is on the Hennepin Mall, the strip of closed off to all traffic other than buses and taxis that goes down the center of Minneapolis. With all the neat shops and the great architecture and cobblestones and things like that. And so he is opening it up on 10th and the corner of 10th and Nicollet. And it was called The Local. And he imported this huge bar, massive wooden bar from Ireland, and they reconstructed it there. And we met while they were under construction. And he said, come on over to meet me, because I wanted to talk to him about my coffee pub. And he recognized us and knew us because we frequented the place all the time. And so I told him what our idea was. We want to do and this is a lot of build-up for this punchline, but I told him what we wanted to do. We'll build this Irish coffee pub, and maybe even get a liquor license and sell a little liquor, and maybe even whatever. And we gave him the whole idea, and his response was this, and this is the first time I heard the accent so well. He said, "Oh, Scotty," he says, "that's a fucking good idea. That's fucking good. Fucking." It's like Fookin. And I said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "It is a fucking good idea." And he laughed. And of course, I think that they were all part of the Irish Mafia up here, but I don't want to say that too loud. Saints preserve us. But Kieran was a good man.
That was a lot for that punchline.
That was a lot, wasn't it? It was good build-up.
It's
Good
okay,
storytelling isn't always the climax of the story or the punchline of the joke. It's getting you there. So,
True.
just a little too much spice, says Doug Stack. Well, thank you, Barry. Okay. I've seen all you talking about grilled meat and stuff. We had spaghetti and mashed potatoes.
And bologna sandwiches for lunch.
Bologna sandwiches. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch today. So, do I still have chips left over? Never mind.
What are you asking me for?
Never mind. So, I don't want them now. I just was curious. No, we
Too
have.
late. You already made me get up.
Oh, all right. He put them away in the pantry. How about that? Yeah, I want to see that, Doug. Yeah, chips. So we had chips, and we had, or all of you over in Great Britain, we had crisps and peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Yeah, we do, Doug. We do. We want to come and visit after we've made our first big sale up here, or closed it.
And like you said earlier, Doug, maybe light up a fat one.
Yeah, we don't talk about that on the air.
Oh, oops.
We talk about everything else, though.
There you go. That's why Dad doesn't let me on the radio.
There it is. Crisps. And so I don't have any idea where I was going with this show tonight at all. But there you go. Sour cream and onion. Sour cream and onion down here in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Onion. And I don't know. I haven't had much Cajun food since we've been down here, and I'd like to. I was talking about Camel Wides. Was I? Oh, yeah, the fatties. Yeah. Sam was talking about Camel Wides. There it is.
Of course.
So,
Camel Wides.
You know, the resolution is so good on this phone. You can see how old I am. You can see all my wrinkles.
What wrinkles? No.
My old face. There, wrinkles. See?
That's only because you're squinting.
I got big ones. They go all down there and they go up there. Those of you listening just by radio audio aren't going to see that.
Doug, I need to find a good place.
What age?
I want to try frog legs.
You recommend reading 1984 to your little boy? Asking for a mother, LOL me, says Brianna. Oh, 1984. You know, the first time I encountered Orwell's work was in 9th grade, middle school. And
that's high school for me.
It's high school for you. It was middle school for us. But we didn't even call it middle school. We called it junior high. 7th, 8th, and 9th was junior high. 10th, 11th, 12th was senior high. So in the 9th grade, we read Animal Farm for the first time. And it was just, I didn't care. You know, that's the thing. I just didn't care. I didn't read any of it. I took notes for the tests, and that's why I passed with not flying colors. And because I hated reading. We were just talking about that today.
Like father, like son.
I hated reading. Here I am. I'm an author. I'm a writer. I have 3 books out. I've got 2 anthologies I've contributed to. I've got a fictional work for young adults out. I'm working on a book, finishing a book now for young adults. I've got my publisher wants me to write 2 more, and I hated reading when I was a kid.
So did I.
I just hated it, and because I had better things to do. I had to watch reruns of Star Trek and things like that. I'm serious about that. I would rather have watched TV. I think I'd let him read it when he's grown up, especially these days. It seems to be coming true. Yeah, I agree with Leslie there. I'd kind of 1984. Not a difficult read. Maybe difficult to comprehend all of the. It's not satire. The political nuance in that book, the message of what Orwell was trying to say. That's what Scots fought them for. Elderberry said, tasting like chicken. So, I wanted to hand me that book right there, will you?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask for a beer.
It's a dramatic change in topic here. I'm not going to ask for a beer. I'm going to read just a little bit more of this to you because as I read through this book, and I told you the other day, I wanted to read more sections of this to you. And, for those of you who may have missed it, by the way, Reuben Fasthorse gave me my Lakota name. He's going to adopt me into his tribe, the Lakota, Sioux, and I would take on, he has to name me at that point. And a while back he said, I've got a difficult time coming up with a good name for you. And then he came up with one the other day, and this is it. I wrote it on a napkin. I was trying to write it phonetically so I could say it. And I'll tell you again, it was inside the book here. That's why I thought about this and bringing it up again. But the name was Waonspea Wagakea. Waonspea Wagakeka. See, it's hard to say those words together. Waonspea Wagakea is the name that Reuben gave me. Waonspea Wagakea. And it basically means, he said, higher knowledge, higher wisdom. Hey, Mary Wins. It's good to see you. You just popped in. Nice to see you here. So that will be my Lakota name, and it's official. It will be a legal name. I will legally be part of the Lakota tribe. So I'm looking forward to that day when we have a chance to do that. The COVID year put that all off because I had mentioned this over a year ago. And so Reuben hasn't done much travel in that time. But hopefully by this summer, we'll both be able to go up onto the reservation and do this. But Waonspea Wagakea is, and Reuben will pronounce it better than I can, I'm sure.
I'm also waiting for. I asked Reuben. I was very, very respectful about asking him because I asked him if I could be a part of that. So, and I don't know Reuben as well as Dad does. He's known him for 25 plus years, but Reuben knew me as a baby.
Yes,
and
he did.
Even though I don't know him personally, and as an adult, I feel a very close, familiar connection with Reuben.
There is one there,
and I love that, and it's a feeling I don't get with.
There's a deep spiritual connection there.
Yeah,
Reuben.
And this is
me, and
this is something I just recently told Dad actually when I was talking to Reuben about this. I had when I was probably about 14. We went to the Native American burial mounds in Minneapolis.
Yeah, St. Paul.
And I had a very deep, like emotional, almost breakdown there. And at the time, I was very young, and I didn't really know what it was. And I was talking to Reuben, and when I asked him, like I said, I was very respectful, and I was like, I don't want to disrespect you, and I don't know if it's rude to ask you, but can I be a part of that naming ceremony? Can I also be given a name and become a part of your family, a part of your tribe? And he said, absolutely. And I had that same very deep connection, and it was very emotional.
Yeah.
And I don't, other than the fact that it was very emotional, I don't know how to describe it. And those are the only 2 times ever in my life that I've felt that emotion. And, since then I've been kind of studying into some of the Lakota stuff, and I want to get more familiar with it before doing all this. So,
There it is. It's a
great
spirit brother connection.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Yeah. It's but yeah.
Ruben's a good man to get to know.
Yeah.
And before we go tonight, because believe it or not, our hour is already up. I've been reading this book of Matthew McConaughey's, little bits and pieces to you, called Green Lights. And it's a great book. It's one of the better memoirs I've written because it's not super over the top. It's he's very down to earth. And in this, he starts talking about his parents and his parenting. And he says, like a good Southern boy, I'll start with my mom. She's a true baller, living proof that the value of denial depends on one's level of commitment to it. She's beat 2 types of cancer on nothing more than aspirin and denial. She's a woman that says, I'm gonna, before she'd say I would. I'm gonna before she can. I would before she could, and I'll be there before she's invited. I read a little piece of this the other day, and let's get into a little bit more of this. Fiercely loyal to convenience and controversy, she's always had an adversarial relationship with context and consideration, because they ask permission, those things. She might not be the smartest person in the room, but she ain't crying. She's 88 now, and seldom do I go to bed after her or wake up before her. Her curfew when she was growing up was when she danced holes big enough in the feet of her pantyhose that they came up around her ankles. Nobody forgives themselves quicker than she does, and therefore she carries 0 stress. I once asked her if she ever went to bed with any regrets. She quickly told me, every night, son. I just forget them by the time I wake up. She always told us, don't walk into a place like you want to buy it. Walk in like you own it. Obviously, her favorite word in the English language is yes. In 1977, Mom entered me in Little Mr. Texas, a contest in Bandera, Texas. I won a big trophy. My mom framed this picture and put it on the kitchen wall. I remember I read this part because now I remember having shown you this picture before. Matthew McConaughey as a kid with his big trophy. And she said, she put it on the kitchen wall. Every morning when I came to breakfast, she'd gesture to it and say, look at you, winner. Little Mr. Texas, 1977. And last year I came across the picture in her scrapbook when something caught my eye. Curious, I zoomed in on the nameplate on the trophy and it said, runner-up, 1977, Little Mr. Texas. I called the queen of relativity, my mom, and said, Mom, all my life you told me that I was Little Mr. Texas, but I was really runner-up? And she said, no, the kid who won it, his family had a lot more money than us, and they bought him a fancy 3-piece suit for the contest. We call that cheating. No, you're Little Mr. Texas. Then in 1982, I entered the 7th grade poetry contest. That night, before the deadline, I showed my poem to Mom. Not bad, keep working, she said. I headed back to my room to work on the next draft. A couple hours later, happy with my progress, I took my poem to Mom again. She read it, said nothing. Well, what do you think? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she opened up a hardcover book to a pre-marked page, put it in front of me, pointed and said, what do you think of that? And there's this quote: "If all that I would want to do would be to sit and talk to you, would you listen?" It was from a poem by Anne Ashford. I liked it, I said. Why? Then write that, Mom said. Write this? What do you mean? Do you understand it? She asked. Yes, but if you like it and you understand it, then it's yours. But it's not really mine, Mom. It's Anne Ashford's. Does it mean anything to you, Mom asked. Yeah, it's like when someone you love just wants to sit and talk with you. Exactly, she said. So if you like it and you understand it and it means something to you, it's yours. Write that. And sign my name to it? I asked. Yes. So I did. And I won the 7th grade poetry contest. My mom had no upbringing, and since she didn't like her life growing up, to survive, she denied it and constructed her own. She always believed that if you understand something, then you own it. You can sign your name to it, take credit for it, live by it, sell it, and win medals for it. Plagiarism? Shit. They'll probably never find out. And if they do, all they can do is blame you and take your medal back, so fuck them, she said. Obviously, my mom was prepping me to be an actor long before it became my vocation. Then his green light in here and the way he lists these in his book. These are little sayings that he wrote, and he put them in his book like this. Knowing the truth, seeing the truth, and telling the truth are all different experiences. And then he goes on and says, while Mom taught us audacious existentialism, Dad taught us common sense. And he's going to go on and talk about his dad. And I'll read a little piece of that maybe tomorrow night. All right. So, folks, there you go. There's our show for tonight. I pretty much have exhausted everything and that I need to talk about tonight. I could, of course, carry on, but I'm not gonna. Carried Biden, Tony the White House, plagiarism, that is. Ain't that the truth? 2 more hours. 3 more hours, says Doug. 4 more hours. Yeah, okay. This week, a cumulative, maybe. So, folks, I am very happy that you would take your time to come here. When I'm down on my normal studio, we are in makeshift format and mode. We're broadcasting on the phone as opposed to the internet. Well, it's the internet, I guess. Just my phone internet. And we're without studio, and now we are without proper setting. But I hope that you enjoyed the show tonight, and I hope you have a good night. And we'll be back, and we're going to take a 23-hour-ish break, and we'll be right back. So you guys sit tight. You have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. And let me see if I know
Take it easy.
how I can stop my live stream. I think it's the little X right there.
Probably just have to press the X.
I don't want to lose it, though. Let's try it. Sleep well, everybody. Have a good night. Let's see if this goes away. Boom. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes, I'm sure. Okay. Good night. Oh, live long and prosper, folks. Boom.